At long last, I'm here to deliver. Yes, you asked, I'm here to deliver. Yes. So before the beginning of the tutorial, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and also comment down below whatever that you want me to break down. So now let's begin. So in this 1 hour tutorial, this is what we're going to be doing. This one of the recent videos of Internet Anarchist. Yeah, Anarchist video of So this is what we're going to do. So now let's begin. Alright, so we'll create a new composition, then we'll change or we'll type Joe Rogan intro. Then I'll change the duration to 10 seconds. That's for the meantime. I don't know how long this intro is going to take. So 10:00. Then we'll change the aspect ratio to 1920 by 1080. We'll hit OK. Alright, so first we'd like to import our logo Joe Rogan profile. So I import it, and I want to use this as a reference. So I'll check the screenshots by double tap, so it will open a new tab, so I can go back to my composition by clicking there. So hit Ctrl Y for a background, then type BG, then OK. Now I'll drag this into our background, and I would like to make it round since it is square. So the only way to make it round is to make a mask around it. So I'll align it to the center, then I will hit S for scale. Then I'll increase the size because I want it to be visible. So we'll use the align tool to align it to the center like this from the align panel. Now I want to make my mask, so I'll go to the ellipse tool but first make sure the screenshot is selected or the profile is selected. So when it's selected, you can use the ellipse tool, then we'll make a round shape or a circle around it like this. So as soon as you get what you like, you can just make sure it fits perfectly by using the arrow keys. Now I'm going to scale it down like this and place it to the left like what is seen on the screenshot. Let me increase the size a little bit. I'm going to align it to the middle or the center. Now that you are done, what we have to do now is I need guidelines, so I'll use the title action. Then I'm going to scale my profile like this. So 60 is okay. Then I'll shift it for it to be perfect align, just on the line of the guideline. Let me say like that. Okay, so right now what we have to do is we'll make our text. So by hitting Ctrl T, then we'll change the font to Poppins. So I'm going to use Poppins and change the font color. So I'll scroll down, then hit here, then make it black. So right now I can double tap or double click and type powerful JRE. So when I'm done, I think this is okay. So I'm going to drag the text to the center like this. Then the align panel, I'm going to align it vertically centered, or let me just bring it here. I'll later center the anchor points to the center of the text. And now I would like to change this text to lowercase. So to do this, I hit Ctrl Shift key, and to be changed to a lowercase, so it's going to be like this. So this is how it's going to be like. Now we have to do and check if we want to make it a bold font. So I can double click and change this to bold if I want to, or I can change it back. It depends on how you want it or how you need it. So I will change it back to semi-bold. So right now we need to do increase in the fonts of the text. Now right now I will just have to check if everything is okay. So this is how I'll do it, but right now I think I have to bring the text a little bit lower, so I'll click the text, then use my arrow key to bring it down. So okay, then I have to do what is beneath our header, so I just go to regular, then I'll change the size of my font to 30, then I'll type whatever is supposed to be written. So I'll type Joe Rogan like this. So it's in lowercase, so I have to change it to lowercase. So this is how we'll create it. To create the second one, just have to duplicate and type their subscribers, then duplicate again, then shift to the right. So at the end, this is what you're going to get. You should change the font size to 42 or 40. So 42 is okay. Now right now we have to create our subscribe button. So we remove the stroke and hit OK. Then we go to the fill, then we choose block. Then we use the rounded rectangle, then we make a round like this, or make a shape like this. So when we make the shape like this, what we have to do now is to go to this search bar and type roundness, then increase the roundness like this. So you can take it to any value you want, but I'll choose 80 now because that's perfect. I'll create a text by hitting Ctrl T. Then I'll type our subscribe button, but I would like to change the color to white, so we change it to white. Then we'll type, let's take this up, so we type subscribe. So that's one. So I'll increase the font size, then make it lowercase by hitting Ctrl Shift K. We will later make the text bold, so we'll select the text, then change it from regular to bold. Then we can choose to change the shape a little bit, so we can click on the shape layer, then we type size, then remove this link so that we can change the width like this. So you can choose to change the width and the height to any value you want to. We'll take this. Right now we have to make a pre-composition, so select this and hit Ctrl Shift C, then type sub button. Alright, so inside the sub button pre, this is how it looks like. So we want to see everything, so I'll hit this, then we can make a region of interest around it. So with this too, I'll just make a rectangle around it. Then I'll go to my composition, then go to trip or crop comps to region of interest. Then I'll go back here, and I'll drag the shape to this side. So this is how it's going to be like. So any changes to make in the pre-composition, it will work here. So I can choose or change the size, and this is how it's going to look like. So we hit Ctrl Shift Y for an adjustment layer. Your effects and presets will type CC vignette and copy the values that you see on the screen. Alright, so choose this. So to play our video,
with over 18 million subscribers on YouTube,
so we have to animate this now. So first I'm going to animate the profile. So to animate the profile, click on the image. So click on this, then we'll hit R for rotation, and I'll zoom in the timeline like this. So I'll go to one frame, then I'll go back, then rotate it to the left like this. I'll go to my flow with my keyframe selected and hit this, then apply. So when I'm done, this how it will look like. Yeah, it's very fast, so you just hold Alt and stretch it outside this. So this is how it's going to be like. If you watch the video, it looked like
With over
it
18
started
million
from the
subscribers
middle
on
and
YouTube.
came back. So we are going to do the same thing. So first,
With over 18 million subscribers on
alright, so now what we have to do is to stretch out our keyframe. So we hold Alt and stretch it outside this and make a keyframe for the position like what you see right now. So all I have to do is start the first keyframe from the forward and the last keyframe back. So this is how it will be like, but I'm going to do a little adjustment, so watch what I'm doing. So right now we hold Alt and stretch out this keyframe to the right, then this is how it will be like. So we just shift it to the right side, just then go back to this keyframe and we'll move it to the right side. So it's going to start from the right, then to come back to the left side. So this is how it's going to look like. Then we can stretch out the keyframe any further. So we can stretch out the keyframe. So we'll hold Alt and stretch this out. Then it will be like this. Alright, the rotation keyframe to stretch it outside this. Okay, this is good, this is perfect. Okay, looks like what you see in the video. Let me play the video again.
with over 18 million subscribers on YouTube. With over 18 million subscribers on
Alright, this is how we want it. And now what we have to do is animate the text. So I'll go to Animation Composer 3, then we'll look for the text animation. So I'll go to my starter preset. No, so I'll go to the transition part, then I'll scroll and look for an animation where it will start from the top and to come down. So I want to animate the position, so I'll go here, then I'll go to the top, then hit in. So now that I've hit in, this how to be like. Right now I just have to do a little adjustment, so I have to shift it to the right, shift it a little bit to the right again. So we'll like it to drop as the logo leaves the scene, so it's like this. I just shift it small, then okay, this is good.
with over
So
18 million
this
subscribers
is how
on
it says. So you have to do an animation for the second one, like the Joe Rogan and the subscribers and what you see. So first we go to Animation Composer 3, then I'll increase the panel a little bit bigger. Then I'm going to choose this animation for our text, so make sure bottom is selected. So this is how it's going to be like. But right now we want to do the same thing for the 3, so we're going to start again, or we're going to start like how we did it first. Then we go to OK. Then all of them has already been like this, so we'll stagger them ascending. We will start from one after the other. This is how it's going to be like. So I can choose to keep on clicking on it. So the moment we go back and play, let's push it to the right like this. So the moment we hit space to play, this is how it's going to be like, right? So you can choose to hit the stagger again until you're satisfied. So you can still to be keep on clicking until you're satisfied. So I guess we'll stick with this. Now what we have to do is, let me check.
With over 18 million subscribers on YouTube.
So now we just have to animate the subscribe button. So to animate the subscribe button, we'll click on the pre-compose, then we'll go to transitions in the animation composer. So this is what I'm going to use. So I'll click here, then click on in. I don't want it to start immediately, so I'm going to shift our pre-compose to the right. This is how it's going to be like. Then I'll change the bounce to 0 because I don't want it to be bouncy. So this is how it's going to be like. So we just wait for it to be rendered, and now this is how it is. Alright, so I just have to be moving the layers, so that all I have to do is be shifting the layers so that it will become smooth. So our text animation like this, I'll have to select the 3, then shift it to the right like this, so that, as you can see, so this is how it's going to be like. So I can shift it a little bit to the right again. Alright, right now what's is left is our highlighting. So to do the highlighting, I'll go to my project and I'll drag in my screenshots into the timeline. I hit S to scale it down like this. So right now all I need is the shape layer. So I'll go to my rectangle, hold Ctrl to turn it off. So I'll go to my rectangle, then I'll use this pick color to choose the color for it. Alright, because I can't really get the color wall, all I have to do is scale our screenshot. So I just have to scale it. So before that, I'll just go to OK, then increase our scale like this. So after I've increased the scale, all I have to do is just go back to my fill color for my shape layer, then use the pick color to select the color. So I'll choose this, then from there I hit OK. I can delete my screenshots now. So I'm going to draw a rectangle around this, then I'll center the anchor point by holding Ctrl and the palm behind. So your effects and presets, you type drop shadow, then follow what I'll do here and the values I use. Alright, so when you're done, I'm going to change my blending mode. So I'll hit the toggle switch, then change our blending mode to multiply. So multiply is at the top. So yeah, so that we can see through it. Now all we have to do is increase our shape layer like the screenshot. So I'll click here, then type size at the top like this, then I'll unlink the side. I'm going to increase the size like this. Alright, so when you're done, you go to your effects and presets, then type linear wipe. Yeah, so this one, so that it's going to animate when our shape layer comes in. So I'll change the direction angle or the wipe angle to the left, then I'll transition completion to 100. I'll click on the stopwatch, but first I'd like to trim the shape layer to the right. So I'll see where we have to start it from. Then we press the left bracket key to trim it. I'll turn off the keyframe, then I'll look through where I'm going to start our highlights. So I'm going to drag this to the back. So now we'll click on the stopwatch, then we'll move a couple frames forward, then we'll set it to 0%. So set it to 0%, and that's also, you can open up the keyframes and select all, hit F9 to easy ease. Right now we have to stretch out the keyframes, hold Alt and move out the keyframes like this so that it comes slow. So you can stretch it out a little bit further. So right now we want to make the header slow, so I'm going to shift this to the right so that it becomes smooth, so it won't be like it's rushing, you see. So I can choose to shift it again if I want to, but this is okay. So right now we have to do the same thing for the three texts beneath or below, so I'll also shift this to the right and shift it again so that it becomes slow. So when I play it, this is how it will come, you see. Right, so now we're done with the intro. So what's next is to do this thing.
The #1 spot on podcast streaming platforms.
So now we have to create our second scene, that is this. So first I'll go here, then download this image by right clicking, then I'll go to save image as. So I'll save it as this USA, then hit OK. The file is in SVG, so I'll just convert it to a PNG. So I'll go to my project, then I'll create a new composition and type Spotify. Right now we just have to import our PNG image to the composition, so I'll drag it here, then I'll hit S for scale, then I'll scale it down. No, let me increase the scale by 20. Alright, so I'll just drag it to the top, then I'll go back to my podcast image. So right now I want to create a screenshot of this interface, so I'll just press my key for screenshots, then I'll go back to my After Effects, then import the screenshot to our timeline because I want the background to have this same image. So I'll just go to my Ctrl Y to create a background, hit this pick color for this color, hit OK. So right now I'll just toggle off this screenshot like this, then I'll take my background down. So right now what I'll have to do now is to do what you see on the screenshot. So to create what you see on the screenshot, first there are two ways to do this. So first I can hit scale to scale it to fit our composition, then we'll just let it align perfectly. Then from there we just have to decrease the opacity, so I'll just hit T, then I'll decrease the opacity like this, then I'll be able to do whatever we do on the screen to match the screenshot. There are other ways you can do it, so watch what I'm doing. I might change it or switch it up to something else. So in case you don't like this method, you can choose the second method. But first, this is what we do now. So I can toggle off my screenshot image, then Control T for text. So I'll choose semi bold or bold too. Then I'm going to type United States. So United States. Then I'd like to change the font color to what is on the screen. So I'll go to now I'll scroll down to my pick color, then select this. So to have the same color as what is seen, I just toggle off our screenshots like this. And now I have to do lowercase. So I hit Ctrl Shift K, then select this one too, and hit Ctrl Shift K. So now that we are done, what we have to do now is to create our arrow. So I'll just go to my pen tool, then create an arrow like this. And that's all. Then I'll change the name to arrow down. Then press enter. Now that we are done, we have our arrow. So what we have to do next is let me decrease the size of the arrow to 10, or I can do it to 8 if I want. So I just change our stroke to 8. Alright, so this is okay. Now what do we have to do next? So if I check, we have to create our so right now I'm going to is on the screenshot. So when you go to the website, you can copy the profile image like this. So I copied and imported it to our timeline. So I'm going to type the Joe Rogan experience. So from here you can follow what I do. Alright, now that we are done, what we have to do is make a pre-composition of our number one chart. So all I have to do is hold shift and click the image, then just choose shift plus C for the composition. So then I'm going to type chart, then chart 1, then hit OK. So what I have to do is make a region of interest. So I'll click here, then make a rectangle around this. I'll go to my composition layer. So let me just adjust this a little bit. Now I'll go to my composition, then go to crop, come to region of interest or whatever. So I'll go to my Spotify comp, then arrange it better. Now I'll go to my chart 1 and hit Ctrl D to duplicate. So I hit Ctrl D to duplicate and drag this to this composition. So from there I can make changes in this chart 2 and to affect chart 1. So I can click chart 2, then do whatever changes I'll do. So I'll do like what is on the screenshots, right? So I change this to 2. Then this is Sean Ryan show. So I'm going to type Sean Ryan over here. So Sean Ryan show. At this point, let me just fast skip so that you know what I'm doing, because I've already seen the example I did on the first one. So we're just going to do this basically the same thing and rearrange it perfectly or align it perfectly. Alright, now that we are done, if we go to our Spotify comp, you see that it has been changed. If we didn't duplicate, it would be the same thing. The first one would have changed. So it's good that we duplicated it and created a whole new one.
So what we have to do is do the second one again. So just duplicate the chart 2, then drag it here. Then every changes we do in the chart 2, it won't work, or it won't affect the actual chart 2. So we're going to make chart 3 in this composition. So I'm going to do the same thing here and change this number to 3, and the name is going to be Crime Junkie. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to fast skip to the end. So now when we go back to our Spotify.com, this has to look like. So I just have to arrange it perfectly. And you see the chart 1, I need to change this to lowercase. So I just select here, then Ctrl Shift K, then do the same thing for this one, then this one. So you always hit Ctrl Shift K to turn an uppercase to a lowercase. So now I just have to arrange it or align it perfectly below the header. Okay, now this is okay. So right now we have to animate our profile. So I'll go here, then go to my animation composer, then I'm going to choose this. So I will choose this for it. Then when I get it, then I'll just click in. So now when we play, this is going to look like. So I can choose to make some adjustments. So I just have to go back to my animation composer, then change the Y angle to from 400 to 200. So it won't come all the way from below. Okay, this is okay. So I'll make animation for my text. So the United States like this. I'll just go to my transition or my text transition. So I'll choose this one, then click in. So when I do that, this is going to look like. If you don't like our animation text, you can change it if you want. So I just have to go to animation composer, then choose this one, so that this one will be like this. So this one is better. So now we have to animate our arrow. So I just click the arrow, then do the same thing, go to animation composer, then I'll select one of these. So maybe this is okay, then I'm done. So right now we're going to animate our text. So I'll just click to the chart 1, then select all these layers, then go to the text transition. So when I go to the text transition, I want a fade in transition, so I'll just go in here, then that's all. So right now I just have to stagger the layers. So I just go to my animation composer 3, then I'll hit the right arrow like this, and it's going to be staggered. So when we play, this is how it's going to look like, but it is how should I say it now, it is random. I don't want it to happen from the top to the second to the end, the third. So I'll just rearrange it like this, then I'll do some little changes so that it's going to work one after the other. Alright, so now that we are done with this text, if I go back to our Spotify composition and play the video, this is going to be like. So all we have to do is do the same thing for the second one, but first let's change the color of the one to white. Yeah, like the screenshot, so it's going to be white. And now we'll go to our video and see what you have to do next.
The #1 spot on podcast streaming platforms. And
Alright, so now what we have to do is animate the rest of the chart. So I'll go to this, then what we did for the chart 1, we're going to do the same thing for chart 2. So in chart 2, I'll just select my 3 texts, then I'll add the animation to it. Then when we get it, we're just going to stagger it. So I'll change it to descending, then stagger the layers like this. So this is how we're going to get, and we can still rearrange it for it to be perfect, or you can choose to leave it like that. So we're going to do the same thing for our chart 3. Then we'll select this, then we'll stagger it like this. So I'll change it to randomly, then I'll stagger, then we'll get this. All right. So when we go to our main Spotify comp and play the whole video, it's going to be like this. All right, so this is how we want it. So now we just have to create our stroke. So I'll take we'll use the rounded rectangle, then make a rectangle around our chart 1.
The #1 spot on podcast streaming platforms, and a
So right now
massive
we have to do the stroke around the chart 1. So to do that, or to animate the stroke, we'll create a trim path. So we'll just select this shape layer, then add trim path. So the trim path, we're going to use the end keyframe. So I'll set the end to 0, then click the stopwatch, move a couple frames forward, then set it to 100. So I'll select all the keyframes, hit F9 to easy ease. To repeat the same process for the first, like this. So we create the stroke around the United States, then I'll just align it perfectly. So I'll just make it a little bit smaller, then I'll bring it down, then align it perfect. So after that, I'll just do the same thing, add, then go to trim path, then set a keyframe for the end. So I'll set it to 0, click the stopwatch, move a couple frames forward, then 100, then select everything, F9 to easy ease, and now we are done. So this is going to be like, yeah. So what we have to do next is let's play and see how it goes. All right. Alright, so I want to center the anchor point, so I'll just click here, hold Control and double tap the palm behind. Then I'll do the same thing for a second, hold Control, double tap the palm behind too, then it will be centered. Now what we do next is to limit when the stroke leaves. So I'll just go to a couple frames forward, then I'll just set this to 0. So the moment you play it like this, then it leaves. So I'll just hold Alt, then stretch it out to the right, and now that's good. So I'll go to my project, then our main intro. Then what we have to do is create a camera. So I'll go to my layer, go to new, then click on camera. But to get a camera, we have to, so I'll click OK. We have to change everything to a 3D. So to change everything to a 3D, I'm going to, we'll go to toggle switches, then I'll set it like this. So it will set to 3D. So I'll set everything to 3D. Now what we have to do next is to import our second scene into the timeline. So I'll go to the Spotify. Where's Spotify? So I'll go to Spotify, drag it here. Then I'll also set that one to 2 views, but nothing will happen. So it means I must change it to a 3D layer. So it's nothing happens, so I'll change it to a 3D layer. So this is how it's going to be like. Alright, so let me show you something. The reason why you can't see the main intro is because the main intro and the Spotify are exactly together. So you see, when I toggle off the Spotify, you can see the main intro. So you see it's like this. So right now we have to set it separate from the main intro. So I just shift it to the forward like this so that it is separated. Now we can see the main intro and the Spotify pre-composition. So now follow what I do. I set a keyframe, use this tool, then I'll zoom out like this. So I just zoom out so that it becomes like this. Alright. So I just select all my keyframes. I can use F9, or I can go to my flow charts, then hit apply. Oh. Alright, so after hitting apply, when we play it, this is how it's going to look like. You see? So now you just have to hold Alt and stretch it out like this. Now I'll go to one view. I'll zoom in, then I would like to do some changes to the screen. So let's play from the starting. Alright, so there's one or two things I need to change right now. Alright, so I would like to change the duration to 15 seconds. So wait, let me increase it to 20 or 30. Alright, so you see, if we go like this, you can see the black cut out. But for the meantime, we'll set an opacity to 0 for the Spotify. Then set a keyframe, then move a couple frames forward. Then we'll increase the opacity to 100. Yeah, so it comes in like a fading scene. So select all the keyframe and hit F9 to easy ease. So I'll drag this to the left. So when we play it, this is how it's going to look. So see, it doesn't rush, it doesn't just rush in. So now let me close this, then we'll focus on the trim path for the stroke. So I'll open it by pressing U. Now I would like to trim the layout to the right, so I'll just click on this, then the left bracket to trim to the right. So this is how it's going to look like. Then I'll do the same thing for about this one. Shift the keyframes to the right like this, and this one I'll shift it to the right like this. So hold Alt. So when I go to the main comp, now I can see it appearing because it was at the far left, it already appeared, so we couldn't see. So right now you can see that everything, or you can see the trim part. So we have to animate the camera, so I'll click here for the last keyframe, then I'll use this to shift it to the top like this. Then I'll use the other to rotate it inwards like this, so that it has a slant on it. So it's like I'm slanting it, because that's what we can see on the video. So I'll do it like this. Okay, this is okay, but I might change it a little bit too. So but let's see how this goes. Okay, see, when we play, we want the intro to blur out as the other scene coming. So there are two ways you can do this. You can use the camera to do it, or you can create another adjustment layer. So I'll use the second option. So I'll create an adjustment layer, then I'll go to my effects and preset and type Gaussian blur. So the Gaussian blur, I can set a keyframe like this, then move a couple frames as it leaves the scene. Then I'll set it to 100, but I can reduce it. But I want the adjustment layer to be on top of the layer so that the highlighted will be blurred too. So I'll select this, hit F9 to easy it. Then I'll shift this to the left. Okay, so now let's see how it goes. Let me reduce this small to 17. So I'll shift this keyframe to the right like this, then shift this one to the other right. So let's see. So I'll shift this again. We want it to be blurred out as it leaves the screen. So let me bring it back. Alright, so like something like this. You can use the camera to do the blur too, but for the sake of you guys being beginners, I just had to, show you something easy. So I'm going to stretch out the camera layer to the end of the timeline. Then I'll do the same for the rest. So we'll change the duration for the Spotify comp to 30 seconds. So now we'd like to animate when the two charts leaves the screen. So we'll hit P. We'll hit P for position. Then we'll set a keyframe. Then move forward a little bit. Then we'll take this down like this. Like this. Go to flow, then hit apply. You select the whole thing and hit apply like this. Then okay. Change this duration to 30 seconds. Then from there we can stretch out. So Ctrl A to select all layers, then stretch it out. Then we'll do the same thing over here too. So change this to 30 seconds. Hit OK. Then we'll stretch it out like this to the right, to the far right. Do the same thing here too. Now we'll go back to our Spotify comp. Then we'll stretch out the pre-comp to the far right so that we'll have enough space for the keyframes to be stretched out. So I'll go back to our keyframe. Then I'll select the last keyframes to the right like this. So after I finish rendering, this is how it's going to be like when I toggle off the eye. So I would like one to animate after the other. So I'll use this keyframe, then I'll shift it to the far right. So when we play, the last one leaves the screen before the second one. You see? So this is how it's going to be like. Now I'll go back to my intro. So when I go back to my intro, all I have to do is stretch out the Spotify pre-comp to the far right like this. So when we play it, it's going to be like this. Alright, I just have to bring this back, and that's all. It's all about timing, so just see which one fits better. So all I did for the trim part was to copy our last keyframe and place it in the middle. That's all. So this the result we get. Alright, you see. Yeah, so if we go to the beginning of I would like to remove that black the black cutout that you see, this black cutout. So to do that, just remove the 3D layer from the background. Then you uncheck one of the 3D layers of the adjustment layer. That's the one that contains the Gaussian blur. So meaning you're making the Gaussian blur not 3D and the background not 3D. So when you do that,
you get a perfect blend like this. Alright, so we are done with this part. So now what we have to do next is going to close the keyframe of this to the left. So I'm going to shift it to the left, then bring this to the left so that it happens a little bit fast. Yeah, we don't want it to delay. If you want to know where the black came from, I just didn't stretch out the background to the far right when I changed the duration. That's why you can see the black over here. So it's not, I didn't create any background like that. So now I'll just set a flow for the keyframes, this keyframe, so it will be like this. Okay, good. Alright, so I'm going to close all the layers. So now I'll go to one of the charts, this chart, the chart number 1. I'll double click. So right now what we have to do is we have to animate the number 1 to leave the screen. So I hit P for position, then I'll set a keyframe, then I'll move a couple frames forward like this, then let me shift this to the left, and I'll let this go down like this. So I select or hit F9 to easy ease, then I'll go back. So it's going to be, so it's going to leave like this, because I want it to leave, then the text will close in. So when it leaves the text, I have to animate. When it leaves, I have to animate the text to close in. You get it, right? So I'm going to select the rest of the text. I'll select all the text, hit P for position, then we'll set a keyframe, then we'll move a couple frames, forward like this, then we'll close the text like this. So the moment the 1 leaves, then it closes. So the 1 keyframe, I just have to delete this keyframe from the screen, so like this. Then also we'll select all the keyframes, then we hit F9 to easy ease, so you can go to our float, then apply. So now all we have to do is just a little bit of adjustment, but let's see how this goes. Alright, so I'll go to the composition, then I'll see. Now we want it to close the moment it drops, so I'll just shift this to the left, and let's see how it is. No, so I have to shift it to the left again because it's not good, so I'll shift it to the left again. Alright, so if we go back to our intro and we play, this, how it's going to look like. Okay, now we have to create a stroke beneath this chart. That's where we are going to add the all episodes. So I'll change the stroke color to white, then hold shift and make a point here, then do 1 here. Now that I've made a stroke, I'll just go to this tab, then type line cap, and I'll change the bat cap to round cap. Then I'll center the anchor point. Right now I want to do something. I want to add a trim path. So I'll go to add, then go to trim path. So I'll have to set a keyframe for the end of the trim path. So I'll set this to 0, set this keyframe, move a couple frames forward, then set this to 100. Select all the keyframes like this and hit apply, or you can hit F9 for easy ease. So this is how it's going to look like. Alright, so now that we have gotten this, we have to type our text. So Ctrl T for our text, then type all. Let me bring this down. Alright, so let me reduce this to 80 or 70 is okay. I don't want it to be that big. I'm going to type all episodes
like this. I'll reduce this to 50 to 50. Then I'll align it on top like this. Okay, right. Okay, so now what we have to do is go to our animation composer, then add an animation to the text, that is the all episode. So I'll use this, and I'm going to click on in to animate. I want to trim the text to the right, so you use the left bracket, so it comes like this, so it won't appear when it was there. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So this is going to be like, so always make sure to trim your layer to the right. I like to change the other letters to lowercase, so I just do this, then Control Shift K, then do the same thing, then hit Control Shift K. So now we have this. And now I'll go to my intro, then I'll see how it is. I'll want to animate the movement of the camera after this side, so I'll just move forward, copy this keyframe, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, then move a couple frames forward, and I'll use these two right now. Then I'll go down or go up. Let me see like that. I'll go up so that the other things or whatever will show on the screen. So this is what we want to do. Yeah, so I use this tool to do some rotation. So you just have to let the first chart to be on top like this. Alright, there's a little problem. You see this white thing that came there and vanished? We have to let it leave the screen. So this thing, so what we have to do now is watch what I'm going to do carefully. So I'm going to trim all the layers that you see to the left side. So it's going to be trimmed to the first scene, so it won't eat into the second scene. So I'll just take this, then trim it to the left. Then I'll take this and drag it to the left like this. So I'm going to do it to all the layers that you see right now. Alright, so I deleted the camera we did previously, the keyframes we did previously. So let's do that one again. So we'll go to this scene, we'll do copy and paste, Control C, then Control V. You'll move a couple frames forward like this. Then we use this to drag the top podcast to the top. So we don't want the United States to be on the screen.
Podcast streaming platforms, and a massive catalog of.
So that's how it's going to be like. So now we'll use this tool to zoom out. Then we'll change the tool to this one, then we'll scroll to the top like this. We'll drag to the top. Alright. Alright, so I use this tool to rotate it to the right a little bit, just slightly like this. Alright, so let's play the video to see how it is. Alright, at this point I'll go to my chart 1, then I'll change the keyframe. I'll just hold Alt, then pull the keyframes to the left like this. So
it'll be more slow. So we just go back to the intro and play the outside, or you can just play the whole video to see how it looks. I want to end here so bad, but I feel like I have to finish the job. It's like I can't go all the way to doing the rest of it, but for the sake of you guys I have to do it. So please just subscribe, because there's a whole lot of work. I'm putting a whole lot of work into this thing, dang. So just hit the subscribe button, please. So now all we have to do is now all we have to do is we just have to find a way to put the other videos into the scene, or the other images into the scene. For the meantime, I'm just going to bring this to the left, then I'll bring the shape and trim part to the left too, so like I'll drag it to the left. So that's what we do. So in case everything becomes slow, just bring it closer to the left so that it doesn't waste your time or it doesn't delay you. So right now I'm going to do something tedious, let me say like that. So first I have these screenshots that I got online. So all you have to do is we're going to cut out each of the sections, or each of the episodes. So first I'll just make a rectangle mask around it using the rectangle tool, of course. So I just make a mask around it like this. So when I'm done, all I have to do is in the mask layer I'll just go to subtract. So I'll choose subtract. So I'll hit Ctrl D for duplicate, then I hit the mask, then go to add here. So in that way, if I toggle off the key the eye, I can see this, right? So it's going to be alone. So we're going to do the same thing for us, but first my center down count point for all of them here, of course. So right now what I have to do now, let me turn on the eye and turn it off again. Let me see. So I have to rename it by pressing enter, then I'll type tile 1, right? So when I get a tile 1, tile 1 so right now all we have to do now is create another mask on the second one like this. Alright, so I'm going to draw the shape around this second tile. So I'll just draw the shape around it like this. So when I'm done, you can see that there are 2 marks, but I would like to duplicate it. So I hit Ctrl+D to duplicate that screenshot. So I'll open with U, then delete the first mask. So I'll just leave it like on add. So I'll select this one, then delete the mask one on the last screenshots. So right now we have single tiles. So if I have this and I have the second one, so all we have to do now is repeat the same process. So I deleted the last marks on the third one, then we're going to change this to add. Never put it to subtract, so just always make sure you put it to add. So I'll change this to add. Alright, so the last screenshot doesn't have a mask, it's only this one and the other one. So now to create the other one, we'll turn on the whatever, then we'll create another mask on the third and the fourth. So repeat the same process. So first I'll pick my rounded rectangle, then draw a mask like this, or draw a rectangle around it like this. So when I draw this, then okay, this is okay. So I repeat the same process. No, I repeat the same process, then
Now you see, this is the mistakes. We must do the mask on the last screenshot with the last screenshot with no mask. So we do it like this, right? So when you draw it like this, then we will create a duplicate like this. So Control D. So the last one has no mask. So I'll press M, then delete this mask, right? So this is going to be like, so we have this and the other one. So right now what we must do is we have to name the screenshot that we have done. So change this to tile 2, then I'll change this to tile 3. So we are going to do the same thing, or we are going to repeat the same process we did for the other one. So I'll turn this on, then I'll draw a max around this one like this. So we are going to repeat the same process that we did on the previous one. So when we get it like this, then all we have to do is we'll go to this layer, we hit Ctrl D, then we delete the marks beneath like this. So when you turn it off, this side is going to be like, now just rename this to tile 4. And since people get the process, let me first skip. So I'm going to do the tile 5, then when I'm done, then I'll do the tile 6. So when I'm done, I'll copy all this text, then I'll go to my intro, my Jorogan intro, then paste it there. Then I'll set all to 3D layers. So when I set all to 3D layers, now I have to drag this up, then align it perfectly inside the comp. So when I do this, I'll just scale it by pressing S, then we can scale the screenshots or the images. Yeah, so what are we going to do now? So right now we just have to arrange it perfectly on, like, in the composition. Yeah, you have to detach the images that are attached together. So when you're done, I would like to trim the screenshots to the right. So I'm going to select this and that and left brackets to trim it to the right. So this has going to be like, now what we have to do is I'll go to my animation composer, then I want to animate the screenshot to enter the screen or to enter the composition. So I'm going to use this, but I want it to animate from the right. Then I'm going to click on in. So yeah, so I don't want it to be tilting, so to change the angle, it's very easy. All you have to do is you're going to animation composer, then we'll change the position of the x-axis to, no, we're going to change the angle of this to 0, and that's it. So it's going to animate like this. So I want to stagger it descending, so I'll stagger it like this, so that it's going to start from the top tile, then the rest will follow. So it's to start like this. This is how I want it. Now I would like to blend the background with the screenshot, because you can see that the screenshot is faded black, then the background is black, so it doesn't match. So we'll have to make it match. But for the meantime, if you want a slow animation, you just have to shift the TR in to the right. Yeah, so now what we have to do is Control Y for a background, then I'm going to use this pick color to change the color of the background. So just type BG for background, then hit, when you're done, you're going to hit OK. So I'm going to drag the background below our timeline like this. All right, we need to see what's wrong, then bring it further back. We want the header to show, so what we have to do is drag it below the Spotify like this, so that it becomes something like this. Yeah. So this is how we make it look like. Yeah, so that it blends in well. So now you can choose to let me see. We're going to animate the camera, so I'll copy and paste our last keyframe, stretch it out, then I'll move a little frame forward, then I'm going to use this to take it down like this. So it should be like I'm scrolling down, you get it. So when you play, it's going to be like this. Yeah, so something like that. So you just have to do a little bit of shifting to the right and all that until you get a smooth animation that you want, the animation you desire. Yeah. So what's next? Let's see.
And a massive catalogue of unforgettable interviews.
All right, so you can do what I did or you can do what he did. So what he did was not, he didn't scroll down straight off the bat, you get it. So it's like all you have to do is you just have to make it stagnant, right, before it scrolls down. So we're going to do the changes and everything like our reference video. So at this point I'm going to stretch out the right keyframe to the, I'm going to shift it to the right. So just hold Alt, then shift it. So let's play and see something. Alright, so what we want to do is to stop the scrolling. But before we stop the scrolling, I'll just have to make some changes with the screenshots layer. So I'll be shifting them to the right so that the time will be perfect when we play. Look carefully, you can see that the last screenshot is behind the other screenshot, so I'll just drag it down so that it appears perfectly. So always make sure that your screenshots are always separated in the timeline or in the composition. Let me see like that. All right, so let's play that again. We need to make a little change.
Has become a massive cultural phenomenon. However, for every awesome and loved guest.
Alright, so we have gotten what we wanted to do. So I just wanted it to animate I wanted to come in as it scrolls. So as it's scrolling down, it animates. But there are changes I want to do that come from the beginning. Now it has affected this side, so I need to align it perfectly to the center. And if you look carefully, before that there was a cutout in the last scene, so we have to just change it and all that. Yeah, so it's something like this. We have to change it too. So we go to this keyframe, then I'll use this to scroll it up like this so that it covers the white. Then I'll go to my next keyframe, then I'll delete it, then copy and paste what we did over there. But you can see that there's still a cutout. It's not from the camera, it's from the background, so I just stretch it up to cover it. So when I stretch it out to cover it now, I'll just align this and that's all. We're okay. So now what we have to do now, I want to animate the opacity of the background. So I want it to start when it's black before it enters inside. And this one I'm going to increase the scale, then shift all the text and then head out to the right side. Because after I shift everything to the right side, then we are okay. I don't want to be taking you guys time, so that's why I'm rushing it, but I know that from the previous 1 hour tutorial I've seen, you know how, or you know by now how to do certain things. I don't need to go step by step. Alright, so the highlighter is not shifted to the right, so all I have to do is change that one to, and that's all. Alright, so I'll just have to shift the highlighter to the right, then that's all. So when we play it, this is how it's gonna be like. Then I think that's literally what we must do. I don't really want to go heavy into the editing because this is just a breakdown, guys. Like, this is just a breakdown, literally. Yeah, because this is literally the intro. So thank you guys for this 1 hour journey, and I want you to please subscribe and hit the like button and comment down what you like or what you want me to break down or just compliment this video. Whatever you're gonna do, I don't care. Oh, I care. Yes, I care. I'm sorry, I care. So you guys please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.